Hi guys, it's Christina here. I just came back home from a photo shoot in a mall full of Christmas shoppers. I'm gonna share a few 7 tips to shoot portraits on a busy street or in a mall that is very crowded. And there will be specific objects that you should be looking for when you compose the shots. Today's model is Anna. You guys can follow her on her Instagram. So let's get started.
Number 1. Use a flash to balance the background and the subject exposures. I wanted to have those beautiful trees in the background, but they were too bright. If I exposed for Anna, then the background will be washed out, but if I exposed for the background, then Anna will be underexposed. So I used a flash to balance the background and the subject exposures. Most of my YouTube tutorials are about using off-camera flashes to balance the ambient and the subject exposures, so you guys might want to check them out. Here, I used a wide angle lens to make her legs appear longer.
Alright, and if I shoot from that angle, let's see. Yeah, I like how you look at that side. Okay, so I'd like to go to that direction. Okay, yes. Just look at like the red coat over there. Good. Okay.
Then I switched to the 85mm prime lens and got a more
1, 2,
compressed
3.
shot.
I love that look. Amazing. Okay.
To learn how to use off-camera flashes, posing and composition, please check out PhotoSprout's Portrait Lighting and Posing 1 workshop. Tip number 2, look for tiny little light bulbs and create shallow depth of field. We're going to use the location to our advantage. A lot of storefronts have these tiny little light bulbs which look nice and blurred when you widen the aperture and use a telephoto lens. Since it is Christmas time, I used the light on this big Christmas tree in the background. I also had Anna sit on the bench that was a few feet away from the Christmas tree so that I can get the shallowest depth of field. If she was close to the tree, then the lights will not be as blurred.
Good.
Using a flash might be forbidden and inconvenient in some locations, so you might want to check the rules first.
Awesome. Put it away from. Oh yeah, like this. Oh, there's reflection on the glass. Like, bring it down a little bit. Good. Perfect.
As you can see, the Christmas lights look like soft and round bubbles when I widen the aperture and use a long focal length, and bring the subject away from the background. I changed my angle with a moving Anna so that I could get the water fountain in the background. This is a photo without a flash, and the water fountain was all blown out when I exposed for the subject. And in fact, since water is always the brightest object, I will avoid any water fountain in the background if I don't have a flash. A lot of clients love to have iconic backgrounds in their photos, so remember to carry a flash to make this happen. To learn how to control the depth of field, you can check out PhotoSprout's Intermediate 1 workshop. Tip number 3, look for large glass windows for creating reflections. Glass windows are everywhere in the shopping areas, and you can easily use them to create amazing portraits.
Okay, that's good. And can you like go back one step? One more? Looking at your face in the reflection. And then get closer to the glass.
The trick of getting a perfect reflection is to bring the camera as close to the window as possible.
This? Yes. Okay, done.
The background is too distracting, so we turned around.
Like lean slightly towards the camera. Good, yes, like this. Awesome. Ooh, that's the best.
And I color graded the photo. This is the black and white version. We'll show you how to use mundane objects on the street creatively in the Art of Street Photography workshop. Tip number 4, use slow shutter speed. As I've said before, we should use the location to our advantage. So instead of avoiding people in the background, I would want more people so that I could create motion blur with a slow shutter speed.
So a cool shot for this is doing long shutter speed so that the people will be moving like ghosts. And then get the sky and power up the light.
My shutter speed was 1/10 of a second, And to get a proper ambient exposure, I had to close my aperture. And because the aperture is so small, the flash power has to go all the way up to maintain a proper exposure on the subject. And in this case, I used full power.
One step closer. Okay, and then we'll wait for more motion. Okay, let's wait for a few more seconds. Maybe grab on your scarf. I want to get your eyes more. Maybe look at that camera. Yes, so I can get your eyes. All right. And then your scarf, pull it down a little bit on the left. Yes, good. Like this. All right. We just need the motion.
I also shot in the shade so that the ambient light would not be overexposed, and then I waited for more people to come by. You might want to ask, why didn't I use a tripod when the shutter speed was that slow? Well, in fact, because I was using a flash that kind of freezes the motion on the subject, I didn't have to use a tripod. Here's a photo with normal shutter speed, and I think using slow shutter speed to create motion blur kind of tells a story. PhotoSprout's Intermediate 2 workshop is about using shutter speed creatively in action photography, long exposure, and light painting. Tip number 5, look for benches. The array of benches are repeated patterns that you can use in a composition. They are also good foreground elements.
1, 2, 3.
Quiz time! Which lens do you think I used? The wide angle or the 85mm? I did not underexpose the ambient light by too much, but what if I did?
Let me underexpose the background a little bit more. And do all the way to 1.4. Okay. Good. Oh wow, there we go. That's what I want. Okay, and then put your head backwards like this. Good. Backward more? Yes, I can avoid that light. And lean like this. Lean slightly towards the camera. Awesome! Okay.
In this photo, the ambient light has been underexposed by quite a lot, so that's why the background is darker. And this one is natural light only. Here's a comparison of natural light and different ambient exposures. Which one do you like better? Tip number 6, look up and find interesting architectures. Then use a wide-angle lens to get full body shots.
At me, like this, and lean slightly towards the camera. Yeah, and that foot, yes, just, yeah, take it forward. And then, yes, one hand high, one hand down. Good. And then that bag, let's see. If you can swing that back on the side, that would be great. Yeah. Okay, like this. And then your right hand can be grabbing on the string of the bag. Yes, like this. Okay. All right. And look at the other side. Yeah, good.
When I use a wide-angle lens, I will shoot from a lower angle to make the subject appear taller.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do something more dramatic. I will underexpose the ambient light by one more stop. And let's see how it goes. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Again, I can underexpose the ambient light by just a tiny little bit or a lot. Which one do you like better? So my little secret of getting better in portraiture is to shoot different types of photography so that I can train my eye to look for leading lines, repeated patterns, foreground elements, reflection, and anticipate the ambient exposure. Tip number 7, carry both wide-angle and telephoto lenses or a zoom lens that covers both focal lengths. So this photo was shot with an 85mm prime lens. Needless to explain here, you have already seen the difference using the wide-angle and telephoto lenses. If you're fresh in photography and want to make sense of a zoom lens, a prime lens, a wide, standard, and telephoto lens, then PhotoSprout's beginner workshop and the intermediate workshops are just perfect for you. You'll be provided with 3 different lenses in the workshops and get hands-on practice with them. So I hope you like this tutorial. Please give me a like if you find it useful. Please feel free to ask me any questions in a comment. Thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas! We're PhotoSprout's photography workshops in San Francisco and Palo Alto. Equipment is provided for beginners so that they don't have to buy a camera to come to a photography class.